Today I am going to complete some balanced remaining part of that nutrition, that is balanced diet and parental nutrition. And also I am going to start biochemistry of cancer. Right? Balanced diet and parental nutrition. Balanced diet is a very common 5 marks question. And also parental nutrition, sometimes they ask, actually it is a PG question, right, for 3 marks only. If at all they want to ask, they are going to ask for 3 marks. Coming to balanced diet, definition for balanced diet. The balanced diet is defined as which contains variety of foods containing essential nutrients in such quantities and proportions that the need for energy, minerals, vitamins, and other nutrients is adequately met for maintaining normal health, vitality, general well being, and also makes small provision for extra nutrients to withstand short duration of illness or leanness. Every word is important in the definition, right? While constructing a balanced diet, the following principles should be kept in mind. Number one, ideal body weight should be preserved. Ideal requirement of protein with adequate essential amino acids should be met with, which amounts to about 15 to 20%. Fat requirement is about 20 to 30% of total requirements. Carbohydrates rich in natural fiber. SDA should be kept in mind. The requirement of micronutrients like vitamins, minerals, and the balanced diet should contain calories from carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids in the ratio of 60 is to 20 is to 20. This is the Viva question. I will repeat, the balanced diet should contain calories from carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids in the ratio of 60 is to 20 is to 20. The balanced diet should be based on locally available food. It should be within economical range, should fit for local habits. It should be easily digestible and palatable, and the balanced diet must contain enough roughage. The dietary pattern varies widely in different parts of the country. It depends upon the type of food produced and imported, climate condition, economical capacity, religion, customs, and habit of people. Indian diet is composed of mainly cereals, pulses, vegetables, roots, and tubers, milk and milk products, oil, sugars, and groundnuts. Meat, fish, eggs are present in non-vegetarian foods. In case of vegetarians, additional intake of milk and pulses are advised. This is the chart for balanced diet for an adult man. Okay, I am going only one, how to prepare or construct a balanced diet in adult man. So energy requirement depending upon the type of work, sedentary work, moderate work, or heavy work. Cereals, in case of sedentary work, the requirement of cereals, vegetarians is about 400, non-vegetarians also requires 400 grams of cereals. Pulses requirement is about 70 and 55 in sedentary work, in vegetarian, non-vegetarian. Green leafy vegetables requirement is about 100 in case of both vegetarian, non-vegetarian. Doing sedentary work requirement is 100. Other vegetables about 75 gram in sedentary work. Roots and tubers also requirement is also 75 gram. Fruit requirement is about 30 grams. Milk is about 200 in case of vegetarian, and in case of non-vegetarian the requirement of milk is less, that is about 100 grams. Fats and oils requirement is more in non-vegetarians, about 100. Vegetarians requires about 35 fats and oils. Meat and fish requirement in non-vegetarian is 30 grams. Eggs is about 30 grams. Sugar and jaggery in both vegetarian and non-vegetarians doing sedentary work is about 30 grams. Coming to moderate work, man requires about more than sedentary work. It is about cereals is about in both vegetarian and it is same 475 grams. Pulses doing moderate work requires about 80 grams in vegetarian and 65 in non-vegetarians. Go through this flow chart. Be careful while writing grams or milligrams. Be thorough, be perfect. And also we are not expecting, for example, pulses in moderate work, it is given here as 475. Roughly you can write 500 also, but don't write 800 or something or 300 or something like that. Plus or minus 20 25, it is acceptable. And also these values differ from textbook to textbook. Coming to total parental nutrition, it is commonly asked for 3 marks. Total parenteral nutrition is nothing but intravenous hyperalimentation. Total parenteral nutrition means administration of food by parenteral route, that is through veins, is called as parenteral nutrition. Indications for parenteral nutrition are mainly impaired Indications for parenteral nutrition are mainly impaired gastrointestinal functions due to intestinal obstruction, severe Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, severe gastroenteritis, removal of large part of intestine. And also one more indication is severe malnourished patients requiring surgery. Technique of this total parenteral nutrition is administration of nutrients through peripheral veins or central veins. Peripheral veins are used when nutritional therapy is needed for a short period, whereas central veins like subclavian vein and superior vena cava are used when nutritional therapy is required for longer period and if peripheral veins are not easily accessible. Parenteral nutrition therapy contains glucose, amino acids, lipids, minerals, and vitamins according to the need. And this parenteral nutrition therapy consists of about 20 to 30% of glucose, 1 to 1.5 gram per kg body weight of proteins, and 1 to 4 gram per kg body weight of fats, along with multivitamins and trace elements. Parenteral therapy solution should also contains potassium, sodium, magnesium and calcium in adequate quantity. Coming to some of the important complications of total parenteral nutrition. Number 1, it may cause thrombosis of veins, sepsis, electrolyte imbalance, alteration in blood glucose like reactive hyperglycemia and air embolism. Coming to enteral nutrition, other type of parenteral nutrition, administration of nutrients through enteral route, that is by nasogastric tube or by nasoduodenal tube feeding and also by enterostomy tube feeding. Some of the indications for enteral nutrition are anorexia nervosa, severe malnutrition, impaired swallowing, head injury, neurological diseases, and if the patient is in coma and the patient preparing for a bowel surgery. So this completes your nutrition and energy metabolism chapter. Some of the assignment questions given here, you are supposed to submit before the stipulated time. The last date for submission of this assignment is 1/6/2020. I think some of you are not submitting regularly and some of you are submitting late also. So I think those who are not submitted the assignment are facing a very tough problem in internal assessment marks. Be careful. Even if you submit late also, we are not going to consider, right? First question, what is calorie, respiratory quotient and importance, specific dynamic action and its importance. BMR, here you have to write the definition, normal values, okay. It depends upon the body surface area also, how to calculate body surface area, factors affecting BMR and its clinical significance. Limiting amino acids. Here you are supposed to write what do you mean by limiting amino acids, how it is compensated. Dietary fibers, already discussed so many times, glycemic index also and its importance, omega fatty acids and their functions, nitrogen balance, definition, positive, negative, causes, etc. Balanced diet, just now I discussed. Different methods to assess quality of proteins, there are 4 or 5, like biological value of protein, protein efficiency ratio, chemical score, etc. Total parental differences between kwashiorkor and marasmus. You have to write in detail. Causes, biochemical changes, clinical features, everything you must write in detail. Sometimes they are going to ask only biochemical changes in kwashiorkor or marasmus. It depends. Total parental nutrition, obesity, lipotropic factors. Similarly, you have to be thorough with essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, etc. So today I am going to start one more new chapter, that is biochemistry of cancer. Right? I am going to concentrate on biochemistry part only. Right? Cancer is Cancer is the second most common cause for death in developed countries, secondary to cardiovascular diseases. About 20% of all death in America is due to cancer. Swelling of a part of the body, generally without inflammation, is called as tumor. It may be benign or malignant. Just now I told you I am going to concentrate only on biochemistry part, right? When the cells in tumor are abnormal, called as malignant. So, cancer is a cellular tumor that, unlike benign tumor, cells can metastasize and invading the surrounding tissues. Cancer cells are characterized by 3 important properties. I am not going in depth, right? Diminished or unrestricted control of growth, invasion to local tissues, and they are capable of spreading to distant parts of the body by metastasis. Some of the morphological and biochemical characteristics of cancer cells are: the morphological changes are cells are round in shape and are larger than normal cells. There is a nuclear and cellular morphism, hyperchromatism, altered nuclear cytoplasmic ratio. Some of the biochemical changes in cancer cells includes: there is an increased synthesis of DNA and RNA in cancer cells. There is an increased rate of glycolysis. There are some changes in composition of glycoproteins, glycolipids on cell surfaces. Alteration in oligosaccharide chain. There is an alteration of isoenzyme pattern in cancer cells. There is a decreased catabolism of pyrimidines, appearance of new antigens and loss of certain antigens, inappropriate synthesis of certain hormones and growth factors. Coming to etiology of cancer in brief, all cancers are multifactorial in origin. Some of the predisposing factors are: age, cancer may develop at any age, commonly occurs over years 55 years of age, but certain cancers are especially common in children below the age of 10, like retinoblastoma, neuroblastoma, Wilms tumor, lymphomas, leukemias, and sarcoma of bones. They are common in children. Hereditary. Some of the cancers are hereditary in nature. Example, xeroderma pigmentosa. The most important cause for cancer are environmental factors. About 80% of women cancers are caused by environmental factors like lifestyle, dietary style, occupational, and iatrogenic. The acquired pre-cancerous disorders, certain clinical conditions are associated with increased risk of developing cancers, like cirrhosis of liver may convert to hepatoma, ulcerative colitis may leads to adenocarcinoma of the lung, leukoplegia leads to development of squamous cell carcinoma. Some of the carcinogenic agents, that is, agents causing cancer, are divided into physical, commonly radiant energy, chemical, variety of compounds can produce cancer, biological, viruses, and bacteria. So, in the next class, I am going to cover some of the important topics like oncogenes, proto-oncogenes, oncosuppressor genes, tumor markers, growth factors, and something about chemotherapy of cancer. Right? Thank you.